It's been about 6 weeks since we started Blue Monday. It was after the Burnley game when it all went horribly wrong, and it's safe to say we've been waiting the whole time to do this one because it's been coming, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's come full circle. Can I just say that before we get into dead negative?
Yeah.
Everton beat Tottenham 3-1 on Sunday. Willie Kirkside.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely amazing. Lucy Graham's goal.
Yeah, it's about it, isn't it?
Absolute banger, yeah.
Ball played to the edge of the D. Oh, and a wonderful goal! It is Lucy Graham this time, without a doubt. A lovely cross from the right wing. Graham makes contact. Everton 3, Tottenham 1.
I put on Twitter that she's celebrating before the ball even comes to her. She's not confident she's going to score. But no, they're having a great season.
They're absolutely flying, aren't they? Absolutely flying.
And as well, since we spoke to them on Women on the Ball, Lucy scored twice.
Yeah, scored in the derby as well,
and Meva scored as well.
Yeah.
So only waiting for Simone to score next. So, she'll be trying to get on that show. But no, in all seriousness, before we get into this spiral of negativity, they're doing really well.
There are some positives.
Yeah.
There are some positives.
Yeah. Got a season ticket to go and watch the girls instead because the lads are
woeful.
Woeful, yeah.
I mean, you said on the post-match, this is probably one of the worst you've seen in a long time. Hark back to the Steve Yates games from you.
Yeah.
You even mentioned before this game the 4-1, the 4-0 was it against West Brom, or the 4-1?
Yeah.
And it was very much reminiscent of that because they just turned up, controlled the game, and did us.
Yeah, you could sort of see the whole situation that we ended up with sort of evolving in the first half. Like, it was just like, I think after the international break, you'd always sitting there like in the first 3 minutes thinking it's always, it can be a bit like this. And then as it goes on and on and on, it was just like, these are comfortable here.
Yeah.
And like it wasn't like, when we got beat by Sheffield United early in the season, it was like they just came and sat in, and they've evolved since then. I think they're a much better side then than they were when they came to us. They were really good against United yesterday. But I think they just came and did a bit of a job on us. Like, Norwich pressed us and controlled the ball, and we're happy to hit the ball in dangerous positions. And when we got the ball and we're trying to play out from the back, their defenders were up near the halfway line. Like we were doing to teams last season, and we didn't have the quality or the confidence to play out through that at any point, or we didn't have the speed in attack, especially up front and as a number 10, to get in behind them. And you could just see throughout the game they were just growing and growing, and while they weren't necessarily creating chances, they were just getting their attacking players on the ball a little bit more in dangerous areas. Like, Pookie was much more prominent in the second half. That Cantwell came into the game a lot more second half, and it was coming. And as is the case with Everton, under Marco Silva, when they go behind, they don't win.
Yeah.
And they very, very rarely draw. So everyone's just sitting in that ground thinking, we know what's coming next.
I think to compare it to that Sheffield United game, the big difference there is, as you say, Sheffield United have evolved since then, but they've been very much the surprise package this season, haven't they? So there's often a team that will come up. I remember Ipswich doing it years ago.
Yeah.
And they beat us 1-0. Marcus Stewart. They beat us 1-0 at home, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, this is the worst thing ever." I think they went on to finish 4th or 3rd that season. But I think Sheffield United, for at least the first half of the season, are the surprise team. Norwich are bad. The bottom of the league. They conceded 16 in the last 5 games or something, or 6 games. Scored 2, but they looked completely comfortable, and that is completely unforgivable from the players' perspective and from the manager's perspective. I mean, has there been any explanation for the Coleman sub, which I think is probably going to go down in folklore, isn't it? No. Was Sidibe injured? Because I've not heard anything.
He wasn't happy when he came off. Like, from what I've seen, I mean, I've not been able to bring myself to watch any of it back yet, to be honest. It's just... but he looked disgruntled when he came off. He didn't look very happy at all. And he wasn't having a good game. Don't get me wrong, he was not good. But you're bringing off a lad there who 80 odd minutes last 2 weeks ago pulls out a real moment of quality to get us back into the game. And Seamus Coleman, as much as, I'm not even going to say this caveat anymore, because I say it all the time, he's been rubbish for ages, and he's not produced a cross like that for a long time. And you're thinking, what's the point of this? And you've got Cenk Tosun up front, who I can't remember he had that one shot in the first half, which is flash wide, but apart from that, didn't bring any kind of positive contribution to the game. And you've got your main summer signing sat on the bench, who scored 2 goals in the week, albeit against, not a very good side in Armenia under 21s, but has proven in Italy in the past that he can come on and score goals. He's even proven when he's come on and done it for us at times earlier in the season. You think about the Watford game on the opening day when he came on, and did pretty well. You think about Villa away, where we didn't ultimately get the goal to equalise that day. We got beat 2-0 in that match as well. But he came on with Iwobi and was really lively.
Yeah,
really
he put
good.
the cross in for Walcott, didn't he? Should have buried it.
And you're thinking, what's actually going on here? And I was just having a chat with Matt Cheatham for our Stats Pack show, sort of going through that front four, and you think, you wouldn't have thought at the start of this campaign that we'd be back to Theo Walcott on the right.
No.
And Cenk Tosun up front, and even Morgan Schneiderlin in the midfield. Granted, the midfield is it's been dictated to him by injuries, but the team is such a muddled mess at the moment. It's such a mess, and I'm sure we'll come to talk about the manager in a bit, but some of those lads have got to hang their heads and shave the way in which they've been playing recently, because it's just simply not been good enough.
I think it's a basic fundamental in football that if you're chasing the game and you've got 2 subs left, you don't make one of them a right back. That's just...
You've got Danny Alves on the bench or something.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just basic, isn't it? The right back isn't going to make that much of an impact on the game unless you say, he's absolutely outstanding. The right back's never the best player. I was a right back, I was a left back, so I can say this with some authority. The full backs aren't usually the key men in the team. I know it's a position that is now these days, but you've got to be throwing a striker on or something. And I think his substitutions again annoyed me. Morgan Schneiderlin, just to pick up on him, he tried to get himself sent off again for me.
Yeah.
He did that stupid handball in the first half, which a player in that position can't do. You can't afford to pick up.
Do you know, I thought I've not seen that back again, but I thought that was dead harsh. But, I don't know. But yeah,
but then once he had that yellow, he was odds on to go off, and he should have been sent off. When he dragged their player back, he was so lucky to stay on the pitch there. I just don't want to see him playing for us again, regardless of how short we are in midfield. He's pulled that. That'll be the 3rd time he's done that now. Sort of pulled that where he's like, I don't fancy this, I'll just get sent off. It's weird. Yeah, it's really odd.
He's got that sort of... It's one of those things, isn't it, where when he's playing well, you're like, oh, he's got a bit of swagger about him. But when he's doing stuff like that, you think, this fella doesn't want to know. And I don't think he was the only one by any means the weekend.
Oh, he wasn't, but
there were loads of lads who just threw it in. He's just not been good enough for a while now.
But it's stupid things like that. I mean, thankfully he wasn't sent off, because that would have then given the team the caveat then, we were down to 10 men, which thankfully they never had, because they didn't deserve to have an excuse in that game, because they just weren't good enough. I'm getting all annoyed again now.
Oh mate, yeah, it's the changes again though. It's just there's no. I know. Like it's easy to bring strikers on, and it's like bringing a right back for a right back, which was ridiculous. That was a ridiculous thing to do. But there's no sort of, doesn't seem like any thought process behind anything we're doing in that regard. It is just drop Sigurdsson back into centre mid. Last two, I mean, where was Calvert-Lewin playing when he came on? He just seemed like he was all over the place. Yeah. And it's just like, well, last 2 centre midfielders on, and we'll just put 4 lads at the top end of the pitch and let's see what they can do. And it's the only time I can ever really remember it working was when we beat Palace 2-0 in his first season, and Calvert-Lewin scored and Tosun scored later on. But apart from that, it's just, and that's been borne out by the fact that we haven't come back to win against them. And again, I think it's in 26 of his 50 games, we've gone behind him, and we've got 5 points from those situations. So do the maths on that. 78 points available when you've gone behind in those games, and we've got 5 points from that potential. It's absolutely remarkable, and it's. I still don't think they chucked the towel in on him. I don't think it didn't strike me as a side that it just maybe apart from Schneiderlin and a couple of us, but it didn't strike me as a team that was like, oh, we've had enough of this fella, we're going to hang him out to dry here. It's just broken. The whole thing is just broken, and it's not down to Silva not putting any effort in. It's not down to the players not putting any effort in. It's just not working, and it's not been working for a while now. And it's sad that we're at this situation going into this spell of fixtures, and we're all clenching our arses going, oh my god, what's coming next?
Well, I think it's blatantly obvious after those stats he just gave us there that he's not been good enough, and he doesn't appear to be good enough for the job now. He's been unlucky with injuries, I'd say, because to lose your entire centre midfield who you've got to build your team around in the summer, and then to lose Gbamin in the summer, and then to lose Gomez now, that's going to have a massive impact on the team. He's been undone by a couple of VAR decisions in the past few weeks, but even so, if you look at it, his season was saved last year by some good home results, some really good home results in the running. But again, the start of this year, we've not been good enough. I mean, it's not completely different to last year. Because we weren't good enough at the start of the season, were we?
I think the thing about last year was there were signs that there was something. You know, like that Palace game there, like that. I remember coming out that day thinking that team didn't really panic there.
Yeah.
They were all right when it was 0-0. Everyone stayed with them, and the manager got the changes right, and it all felt like it was under control. When we went to Leicester, funny enough, we've got them this weekend, haven't we? When we went to Leicester, and that was a composed performance, a measured performance away from home, and there were just little games like that where you thought there's something building here. Brighton at home, remember you were thinking that was really good as well. But but this season, it's just like it feels like all those good things we had last season in that regard, and we could call upon a sort of hang our hat on as something that might come to fruition in the future. There's been none of that, has there really?
No.
You know, can you think of the West Ham aside, I'd probably say, can you think of a match where Everton have played well?
No, it's pretty much West Ham. I mean, even the cup games have been unconvincing, haven't they?
Yeah. The one came out of Watford, didn't we, 2-0, and was like, you know, we're quite lucky there really in the end.
Lincoln was hard work.
Yeah.
Even
Wolves, it was just a back and forth football match, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. And they were in terrible form at the time as well. So
they're fifth now, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
It's just looked at the table before. I was like, oh, where's that come from?
Yeah.
Remarkable. But no, it's just hard to make a case for him, isn't it? Now, it's. I don't think anyone who ever comes in our show will sit here and like bang the hand on the table and scream into the mic that it's Silva out and all that. But I don't think there's anybody who could make a case for him anymore to be able to stay. It's difficult. It's really difficult. It's
got to the point sort of where it was last season, where the only reason to keep hold of him was because we keep sacking managers. It seems like that's I can't think of any other reason why he should stay in the job, because it hasn't been good enough. You know, notwithstanding injuries and luck.
Yeah,
he's just not been good enough. You know, the hand that he's dealt, he's got to do better with it, because that team, those players, shouldn't be where they are.
No,
those players on the pitch on Saturday should, well, if he played the right plays. if we'd have played, I mean, his comments after the game that we weren't mobile enough or quick enough, and he plays Sigurdsson and Tosin. Well, what did you expect, Sherlock?
If anyone's not listened to the post-match,
your reaction's quality
when I read that out, if anyone could have seen me face, I turned redder than these lights behind us here. Yeah, I was ready to fume in that regard,
but he doesn't help himself with stuff like that.
No,
it's basic things like that. So I mean,
why is Alex Iwobi on the bench?
You know, it's bizarre.
He's not been amazing by any means, but he is constantly shown when he's been in the side that he can do things that other players we've got on the team can't. You know, he's played one game as that number 10 against West Ham, and he was brilliant that day. And it's not been seen since.
No.
You know, he started there against Brighton, Bernal goes off injured, and Sigurdsson's back on in the team, and since then that's it. So we effectively had probably a grand total of 90 minutes of him playing in that position, and he's looked pretty good there.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's changed. So when you see things like that, you can't really have any sympathy for the manager, because you can talk about injuries and all that kind of stuff. But he had a formula against West Ham that looked like it was going to work and looked really good for that game. And it's just been like, as soon as one of those pieces goes out of it, instead of being about the system and the way you play, it's gone back to right. Who's a dependable player? Oh, get Sigurdsson back in the team. He's not been playing. Even though he's not been playing well, why not keep Richarlison put Richarlison on the left, bring another mobile forward in, or do something a little bit inventive with it. He's gone back to things that have not worked earlier in the campaign. And I think when you see a manager doing that and constantly making the wrong choice, that's when the faith does just erode.
Yeah, and I think it has with everyone, hasn't it? I mean, I wasn't there. I think I left on about 85 minutes.
Yeah.
I just couldn't be dealing with it. I could see we weren't getting back into it. I didn't want to be waiting in the park end until next Tuesday. So we just got off. I think we were on Spellow Lane when the second went in. And it was just the reaction. There was no anger even. It was just like, that was inevitable. There was the sound that was on the ground.
Yeah.
But for the people around us walking out who just bailed by that point and hadn't actually seen it, because imagine actually seeing that goal go in would have tipped me over the edge, and I would have been angry at that point. But it was just like resignation with everyone. Like, well, that was coming. We were absolutely terrible.
That's what happens to us, isn't it? You know, think about the games this season, the 3 against the newly promoted teams. We've gone behind in each one of them. We've huffed and puffed a little bit trying to get back in. Villa scored 90 plus minutes against us to kill it off.
Yeah, to make it 2.
Sheffield United was that.
That was late on as well, wasn't it?
Was that 80ish or something? Like, might have been a bit early, no, actually, but it was late on in the game, and they did the same at the weekend. So it's following a similar pattern. It's nothing new, like you're saying. So it's hard to even talk about it. You know, it's flabbergasting that once again we're at this point. And you know, people can talk about new managers and all that kind of thing. It's hard to sit here now and say whoever we bring in, it feels like we could go and get one of the best managers in the world, and I'll be still thinking, no, we'll find a way of messing this up somehow, because it's just what Everton do. There's no leadership at the top of the club. The decision making's been poor for long enough, and we're just a husk of a football team that's going to maybe hopefully this season amble around mid-table and just make bad decisions and spend money recklessly and I suppose on a serious point here, the worrying thing about that is when teams do get like that, they can sleepwalk into sort of into
there's only one way. I mean, the teams that have done it, the big teams that have done it, Leeds have done it, Villa have done it, Forest did it. They all just sort of amble into this mediocrity that suddenly the bottom falls out of it, and you're like, before you know it, you're in the Championship, and you're having to put up with fans like Norwich fans every week, which I really couldn't handle. When they were doing that chant at every throw-in.
I totally missed this. What were they doing?
So that one Championship clubs do shit, that one. They were doing it when we had throw-ins and corners. It's like new depth. So we need to avoid the Championship at all costs. If only for that reason. They might do, they probably will now. But it now poses the bigger question, doesn't it? What is going on at the top of the club? Because Twitter's melted down completely.
Hopefully he's not getting sacked while we're doing this video, and it's like, although saying that, we'd be first on the scene, wouldn't we?
But it's like there doesn't seem to be. There's been no real comment from the club. Some media outlets have said,
well, Seamus, did you not feel galvanised? Seamus' rallying cry?
I always do.
Okay.
Always do.
Yeah. After that, I felt like they're just all going to be fine.
Yeah, it's like the Men in Black thing. What Roberto Martinez used to do. But it's sort of like there's been some media outlets saying there's going to be there might be a new manager in place by Leicester at the weekend, but there's been no real word on it. So we're all just left kind of wondering, well, what's going to happen? You know, because I think everyone's of the opinion, or I'd say most people, whether he's not going to turn this round, because I don't see how he can. The worry for me, as I mentioned a few weeks ago, it reminded me of the final days of Mike Walker. When we won, I think we beat West Ham, we maybe drawn against Norwich, I think. And he was convinced he turned it round, but the board at the time were like, no, enough's enough. We've been absolutely dreadful. You're out. Now this is a board that contained Cliff Finch and Peter Johnson, the Park Hamper Mafia, basically. And it was more decisive than the board we've got now. Which really worries me, because Johnson went because he was inept and he couldn't handle it. He was a bad chairman. But now we're in a position where that board is actually making this board look slightly competent, because we've let this go on for so long.
It's just, I think, I've always been one to say I want to see them be patient, and throughout the season I've sort of, up until the weekend, I would never have said get him, I want to see him actively sacked, and I've always been someone to say be patient, we need to take time with this and that kind of thing. But the flip side of that is when you're not, you get to situations like this now where I think what happened, and I've got no inside knowledge or anything on this, by the way, before people start calling me ITK or anything like that.
At Match A Football ITK.
But I can see them just using him. I used the example on Twitter before. You don't watch cricket, do you?
No.
Do you know what a night watchman is?
No.
So basically, if you're in cricket, there's people who don't watch from this country, from the States, maybe might not know about this. But in cricket, when it's late in the day and a batsman gets out, what will happen is, instead of bringing in another batsman for a few balls at the end of the day, the team batter will bring in one of the bowlers to sort of see out the last few balls of the day, so they can hopefully get through to the next day, and then you've protected your good players.
Is it like the Weir sub?
It's a little bit like that, yeah. You're effectively protecting the people that are coming after you.
Okay.
Because if you bring a batsman who's been out in the field all day into bat later on, there's long shadows, the ball's doing a bit. You don't want to lose a good player at that point. You'd rather lose a bowler if you're going to lose anybody.
All right.
And Marco Silva's effectively going to be that. No, I think he's going to be the night watchman in these couple of games for the next manager, because we could bring in anyone, I think, and we'd still lose to Leicester and we'd still lose to Liverpool. And I think the club, being the way in which they are and being, everyone's thinking negatively at the moment, but we'll be thinking damage and limitation with this. and they'll have him, I think, in charge for Leicester to take the flak when we get beaten that, and they'll have him in charge for Anfield when we inevitably get beat there, and he'll take the flak for that, and then he'll be gone, and then your next man's in. You've got a home game against Chelsea coming up, and the goodwill, and I'll put goodwill in inverted commas because it very much depends on what that who that manager is. But the goodwill for that coach will be at its highest point then going into Chelsea. Whereas if you bring in David Moyes now and he loses to Leicester and he gets a shellacking at Anfield and everyone's all of a sudden saying, we brought back a fella who had a terrible record at Anfield and we've just been bastard there again.
Yeah, I do see that, but I think even that's the wrong attitude to take from the board.
Oh, I'm not saying that's the right attitude.
Oh, no.
I just think that's what will happen.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I think they will. And there's even been people sort of saying, well, yeah, they're not going to bring a manager in now because no manager's going to take the job knowing they're going to get a hiding at Leicester and Liverpool. And then I'd suggest, well, if they're after a manager who thinks they're going to get a hiding at Leicester and Liverpool, well, don't get him, because you don't want a manager coming in like that. And I mean, you know, you can't compare it to back then, but when we did get rid of Mike Walker, Joe Royle didn't come in and think, oh, we're going to get fucked here in the derby. He came in, he had a game plan, and he went for it, and they were flying at the time, not as good as they are now, but they were flying in the league, and we were dreadful. And we overcame that. So you've got to have a manager who believes in it, in his own methods, and he believes that like he can work something with this team. So if a manager's got those doubts, sack him off. You know, if a manager's got any doubts like that. As for the board, they really shouldn't be thinking that short term. They should be thinking, right, let's just get someone in as soon as possible and turn this mess round. Because I know it's Everton, and I know it's like, yeah, this is what happens at Everton, but you can't second guess things like that. We could get a new manager in, and we might go to Leicester and win. You know, the Arse could drop out of Leicester season at any point. They're doing exceptionally well, and they have got a decent team, but there's no reason why their season can't turn on its head and they can turn to shit for the rest of the season.
Do you think you wanted the football clubs thinking like you are though?
No.
Neither do I.
Which in itself's bad, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, there's got to be, when you're in charge of a football team or a football club, you've got to work with what you've got and get the positives. And if that means going out and getting a new manager to get that positive like sort of feeling back, regardless of who's up next, you've got to go and do it. So it's just, I think it's I don't know. In coming out and saying nothing, it's not looking good, because it's like, well, what are you doing? You aren't doing anything. When for all we know, they could be, you know, tapping a manager up now and he'll be installed tomorrow or something.
Yeah.
But
well, they've been off today, haven't they? Everyone.
Yeah.
And they're back in tomorrow. I've seen reports from a Portuguese paper that were cited by Sports Witness today saying Marcus Silva's at home in Portugal today and he's expected to be back at training tomorrow. So if there are developments, might be tomorrow, but you know, it's one of the funniest things about this sort of situation is you get all these mad rumours, don't you? Like the other 23s have been told not to come into training on Tuesday. Like, well, of course they haven't got a game on Tuesday night.
Yeah, there's all that. People put two and two together and get about 10.
Yeah.
So just before we wrap up, the odds on being the new manager, who's
trying to get them all.
Who's looking good? Who would you go for now?
So semi-realistic option, I would go for Marcelino, who left Valencia at the start of the season. He has done a great job at every club he's been at. He got Villarreal into the Champions League, got Valencia to 4th last season, and they were in an absolute mess when he took over. You know, think end of Gary Neville, the ownership going on. He left this summer in ridiculous circumstances because the owner was unhappy. He went for the cup instead of prioritising the league, and they won the cup last year against Barcelona in the final. Absolutely bizarre situation at Valencia, but the only thing is I don't know if he can speak English. I think he's been having English lessons. Neil A8078 on Twitter, who's a good follow for all Spanish football stuff, told me that he has been a while ago. But I think he's available as well. So I'd look at someone like that. But then you've got the language, you've got, does the league and all that kind of thing. But just to cheer everybody up, the odds, the next Everton manager are David Moyes is 5-4, Eddie Howe is 11-4, Unsworth 8-1, Arteta 10-1, Benitez 12-1, Pochettino 16-1. Not going to happen. Mark Hughes is on the drift. I'm sure everybody would be to know. 16-1.
No nan-head for us.
16 to nan-head, Sparky. Marcelino, Chris Wilder, and Louis Van Gaal are all 20-1.
Oh my God, imagine.
Yeah. Danny Cadamarteri's 250-1. That's what I'm keeping my eye on.
That's where the smart money is.
Yeah.
What's Tony
Hibbert's 250-1 as well. Steven Gerrard is 100-1. I don't know if Danny Cads.
I think I would as well.
Yeah.
I think the thing annoying me is they've actually pushed me to the point where I would actually take Benitez now.
Juan de Ramos is on the list as well.
Jesus.
80 to 1.
Is he still a thing?
Yeah.
Christ.
Allardyce 66 to 1.
Imagine.
Danny Cowley. We are shopping in the big market here.
Yeah.
Bobby Martinez 40 to 1. Tim Cahill 40 to 1. Alex Neil. I'm gonna put that phone away for a minute.
Not doing us any good, is it? But yeah, it's something needs to happen, and something needs to happen soon, and hopefully it will, because these next 2 games have got the potential to be absolutely dreadful.
It's not going to be one of them, like, when he gets sacked, I'm not going to be made up, because...
No, not at all.
I you know, a lot of people don't like Silva, but I've always quite liked him, I've liked his attitude, you know, I like the way his teams play when they play best and all that kind of stuff, and, you know, we had the 4 relegation out last season was boss, you know, beating Chelsea and Arsenal was really good as well. I'm not going to be, like, celebrating, and cheering when he goes, it's, you know, it's a bloody terrible situation, really.
Well, I saw the footage of it today at the final whistle, and it cut to him, and he proper looked like absolutely defeated and just
like Allardyce.
Out for the count.
Allardyce didn't give a shit. He genuinely didn't care if he won or lost, because he knew what was going to happen at the end of the season. Like, this fella's, I think, has bought into us a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think the club could maybe done a bit better in getting his personality across, which is obviously a minor issue in the grand scheme of things. But I'm not going to be dancing from the rooftops when he goes, because who knows what's going to come next.
Be careful what you wish for. That's the moral, isn't it? Yeah, so we'll see what happens with this. Obviously, Norwich was just the low point, but it might get lower these next 2 games. We don't know. We'll have to wait and see. That's all for this edition of it. We'll be back with what's the score for Leicester away. We'll actually be away for that, won't we?
We will. I'm going on my stag do.
Match stag do, so we'll be in Lisbon for that.
Thank God.
So we can completely avoid the game. Yeah. Amazing.
It'll be on. We'll be watching it somewhere. No
Undoubtedly, yeah, because it's on Sky, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it will be on. Yeah, so we'll...
Go to watch Benfica on Saturday night then.
Yeah, I'll be flying.
Who's managing them these days? We can poach them back.
Should have a word.
Yeah.
While you're there,
yeah. Sure. All of us rocking up after eating on the ale all day.
You've been on the BBC today.
Oh, that's true.
So, you know, you're going to be a face
over
there. Oh God, yeah. Well service, man. You'll be everywhere.
We've got the Athletics, Paddy Boylan, man about town.
Hey.
Mark Mosey's going on the Robbie Savage show on Friday as well.
Is he?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Some heavyweights there.
Yeah. Got some clout.
Yeah, go for it.